Oh yeah, we back, man. What's
We
going on,
are.
my brother? Okay,
I'm
hold on.
like a fucking housewife drinking wine on a Sunday afternoon. That's what's going on
Why do you have it in a tumbler, bro? We didn't.
in
We
a
discussed
fucking
this.
tumbler.
You mentioned
Mm.
you mentioned it offline, but I just needed to understand why a tumbler.
Because it's double walled, vacuum sealed, insulated, so it
Okay.
keeps it cool. And the
Uh huh.
touch of my skin, the body heat, doesn't change the temperature of my Portuguese port ruby red dessert wine.
Okay, we're getting
So
sidetracked. Dessert wine is something we're gonna have to talk about in a second. But hey, before we kick off with the intro, today we're gonna be talking about UFC 261. Obviously, I'm gonna try Four Roses single barrel live on the show and give you my feedback. So, John, pull that review up from Straight Bourbon Talk or whatever it is.
yep,
And
yep.
then finally, before John hits the intro here, I want to give a big shout out to my little brother. Not so little, he's 27. Uh, had his E6 board promotion board last week. He passed that shit, so he will be a staff motherfucking sergeant. So fucking
When does he
cool
pin?
as
1 May,
fuck.
1 May, 1 June.
I I think it's gonna be 1 June because he's passed everything. He's got to go to like ALDC, which is like Advanced Leadership
Yeah,
Development
yeah,
course
yeah.
or some shit.
Hmm.
Yeah, so he's got to go to that. But yeah, he should be pinned here soon. He'll let me know. He's on vacation right now, so his communication has been hit and miss. But yeah, I just want to say congratulations to my brother. Yes, I will stand a parade rest for you, bro. It's live on the podcast. I will stand a parade rest for you. All right, John, hit that intro, my brother. Let's get the
All right,
show
man.
going. Bow, 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 bow,
Shut your mouth.
bow.
Yo, what are you doing right now?
Okay,
The
don't.
big V.
Three.
Look, man.
All right, man. Let's just jump right into this shit.
Say whatever I want.
So,
I made my wife wake up and drive me there anyway.
you,
Is it major?
What's that con eso?
Okay,
What's that con
hablar
español?
español. ¿Qué pasó, papá? ¿Cómo estás? Any questions?
Now, when you bought that sweater, right? You just go, fuck it. I'm going full Mr. Rogers. You've tuned into the Man Chatter podcast.
Yo, quick little thing about this. I know we're gonna get into bourbon talk, but shout out to Four Roses. They gave me this is the first bourbon ever. They gave me like a little pamphlet that gives me a little bit of the story of Four Roses, which I'll be reading here in a second. But yeah, man. Yes, again, shout out to my brother. So what's up with you, man? With your last minute Target run, man? What the was that about, bro?
Listen, man. I was returning. I guess it's like a sport coat,
Okay,
something that we you got for Javi, and a long sleeve, like a
right.
button down shirt for
Mhm.
a photo shoot that he had just to update his portfolio and stuff. And Mel bought a couple of the same because she wasn't sure of the size and he wasn't there with her. And he had the photo shoot already, and we returned the sizes that were a little too big or too small. But then I decided, let me. TJ Maxx is right next door, and there's some like I have an espresso machine that uses the capsules. So they got the capsules at a
Right.
discount. So let me go and do that. And then I showed up, and that motherfucking line wrapped almost outside the store. Uh, I wasn't the
Yeah.
only housewife doing some shopping on Sundays at TJ Maxx trying to get a good deal. So
The second
that's
time
what
you
happens,
refer
man.
to yourself as a woman. That's funny.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
claiming my
crazy.
rightful spot. Mel has the power tools and she has all the projects, so I'm just gonna go ahead and sip on this wine.
And she also canceled your trip to Peru, but we'll get into that in a second.
Possibly.
That was funny. Yeah, no, she did. What was it, dude? Like we went to Home Goods yesterday, and I
Yeah.
refused to go in there, right? Because it's like a Home Goods slash Marshalls and something else or some shit, and it's
Yeah.
always jam packed. I was like, yo, I'm like
Hmm.
claustrophobic in there. Like everything's like filled in. I was like, I'm not. Yeah, they got some good stuff for the house if you want to decorate and all that. But I told my wife, I was like, look, I'm not going in there. I'll sit in the car, play my little soccer game on my phone,
Uh-huh.
and do your thing. Like I'm not going in. I can't stand crowds like that, man. Like I don't like it. It gives me like anxiety, bro. So kudos
Okay.
to you for your housewife shopping.
Hey, someone's
That
got to
is
do
what.
it.
Well, yeah, the housewife, right? Like if the slogan is that, then you're like the house husband, and that's
We
that's
don't have
more
a
accurate.
housewife, so somebody's got to take that mantle, and
Yeah, exactly.
it was me.
You took that proudly. You stood up on the fucking podium like I did
Goddamn
it.
right. Give me my
I did
fucking
it.
tumbler and give me some dessert wine. I got this.
What the fuck is dessert wine, man? Before we get what is that?
I mean, it's just like
Describe it.
the
Like, what is
sweeter
this?
wine. They have in Germany they call
Uh,
it ice wine. It's just sweet wine. Not that's like I guess Moscato could be considered a dessert wine. I consider that
mhm.
like grape juice or something. But
Gotcha.
Mel drinks Moscato. She doesn't drink anymore. She's a lightweight. She doesn't like it when I say that,
I,
and I just said it on the
uh,
show.
I saw
But
the regret. I saw the regret on your face, and it was
I
funny.
know,
Like, yeah,
I know,
like you're backing out of a parking spot, and you just see
I
a
know.
car.
Now I'm actually
You
gonna
went,
have to I'm gonna have to edit this show now. For the first time in about a year, I'm gonna have to take that part of the show out. No one's gonna know I said it.
oh my god! You know what's
No,
fucked
no,
up is I have the same audio. I have the ability to get the same audio you just posted because we
I know.
share this account. So the uncut one is going up, bro.
No,
The fear,
I'm not. You know
the
what?
fear
I'm
on
not
your
editing
face.
anything. I don't believe in editing.
Oh no, we don't edit. We go
One, because
raw.
I'm lazy,
That's funny
and
because
two,
like
because like who gives a fuck? I said it.
yeah, exactly. Like I'm in a huge like a 60-person, 60 podcast. We're calling it the Pod of Casters group chat in Twitter, right?
Okay.
And in the DM, and it's all like communication about like, oh, review this, and it's great. Like it's great for networking, and everybody's talking about like, oh, edit our videos and edit our stuff, and like this is what we use. We use Zoom. I was
Yeah.
like, dude, we don't edit. Like we, for the most part, what we say is what we say. Like I don't. I guess there's that part where like I'm not exactly sure what you would edit. Like I'm guessing if there's like yawns or pauses in the stuff, but like I feel like we've been doing this long enough. We don't have those same like awkward moments other than when my internet goes to shit. So I feel like we
Right.
have a pretty good flow. What do you think?
No, I mean I feel the same way. I think if they're editing, it's probably because maybe they have some kind of segment, something that they want to get right, just right, and they don't want to have any fuck ups. But I mean, we have our segments, but we already know ahead of time, right? We discuss the segments, we have it set up in StreamYard, we
Mm-hmm.
do our research, we do a little pre-show, a pre-talk, pre-show meeting,
Yeah,
and so there's really no need to edit because the only reason I would need to edit was before we'd have technical difficulties. I remember a show we did with I think it was with your cousin with Josh, and I had to edit like a
yeah.
motherfucker, like 30-second clips here and there, and I did that for an hour and a half worth of an episode because we had so many things cutting in and out, and I was trying to
Mm-hmm.
piece everything together. But as far as the conversation, like this is just a conversation between 2, 3, 4, however many people we have on the show, and I don't want to edit it because I don't want to take anything out of context. So that's
Yeah.
why that's how I feel about it.
And I'm not knocking it, right? You understand, like there's different people who do podcasts, and like there's people who like to add undertone of music throughout the whole podcast,
Absolutely.
which is cool.
Hmm.
I mean, like you listen on like horror pods, they give you that little creepy shit, which is like I love that shit. Like it gets you more embedded into the pod. But like for us, it wouldn't make sense to have music undertones or like a soundtrack through it because you know what I mean. We're constantly changing what we talk about, so like a specific song wouldn't work for that. So I'm not knocking it, but I was like, man, like is that something we should be doing? I was like, well, our pod is different, right? Like we're more like current events to us, right? Like it's things that like we find important throughout the world and through sports and different shit. So that's what we talk about. So I was like, like man, I thought about it. I was like, shit, should we edit it? Should we? I was like, nah, man, we're usually just recording conversations, unless we say like some like defamatory or ridiculous shit. Like we'll go back. You know what I mean? Like if let's say on a podcast, one of our guests or you know what I mean, we say something racially charged. You know what I'm saying? Like something that just goes out of context with like joking and it just has to be like bleeped or something. Will probably be the only time we have to edit. Not that we have, because we're at over 100 episodes now, so we haven't done that. We won't do it in the future, but I'm assuming that's the only time we'd have to edit.
No, yeah, you make a good point. If you're trying to add a background music, a soundtrack, sound effects, video effects,
Mm-hmm.
that makes perfect sense. You don't do that during the show.
Yeah.
It's unless you have a producer that's handling that for you live, and even then, it's just a pain in the ass. These are things you got to have prepared beforehand. But for us, like you
Yeah, the
said,
only
it's
one.
topics and it's conversation.
Yeah, for like I think the only pod I've seen that does like live and stuff is Rogan, right? But he has Jamie, who does, you know what I mean, who's holding all
Right.
that stuff down, checking the monitor levels. Like Rogan's just talking. Like for us, it's you know what I mean. Like when my internet worked, I would be throwing in the comments that people would have, but you know what I'm saying, like that live stuff. But that's just because of the interface that we use for StreamYard. But yeah, dude, I was like, man, should we be doing that shit? I was like, nah, but we can't because it wouldn't work for us. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, I don't.
our
To be
type
honest
of
with you,
pod isn't like that. Yeah,
I compare this
you got
to
any?
like
Did you have any?
I
Go
remember
ahead, sorry.
when we first started, I was watching Deezus and Miro, the Bodega Boys. I don't know if you're
Yes,
familiar with
yep,
them.
yep, yep.
And I think now they have
I
like
am.
their own
Of
thing
course
on
I am.
Showtime or HBO or something. Like they went off YouTube and they went big time. But I mean that's what it is. It's two
Yeah, they
friends,
have a late night talk
shooting the
show.
shit. Huh?
Yep. Yeah, they have a late night talk show on Showtime. They started off
Yeah.
on Vice, and then Showtime bought them from Vice.
Yeah. I mean before that they were on YouTube and they made that jump. So I mean that's what it is. So for us, there's very little editing that we need to do. And maybe down the line we might
Yeah,
want to throw in a clip here or there, but I don't think we're really there at this point.
I think we've done it in the past when especially now that StreamYard comes in better because I'm using my phone. You adapt and overcome. Now that I'm using my phone, it'd probably be easier to like add in YouTube clips and stuff like that and able to see it and figure
Right.
out how to work with this in the future. But you know what I mean? Like it's I like the genuine way of approaching it the way we do. You know what I mean? Not to say that like other people do. Like, I was listening to a horror pod, and I was like, yeah, I'm not listening to this because I was like driving in the middle of the night, like 3 o'clock in the morning, and it was about like it's about like Latin American horror stories. Like for in Panama, we have what's it called? Like we have La Torrevieja, you know what I mean? Like in
Right.
Colombia and Venezuela, like you have these different stories. I was like, yeah, I'm not listening to this when I'm driving at 3 o'clock in the morning with like some spooky fucking music behind it. I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and listen to literally anything else. I'll listen to like Rogan. So like that stuff is good like for people who like that shit, like true crime pods. You know what I mean? Like those are great with that like Dateline, you know what I'm saying, underlying music. So that's dope. I give all the credit to them, man, because like, and the thing is, a lot of people on the chat are have like film knowledge,
Background.
right? Like how to
Yeah.
edit. They work into film background. They work in stuff like that. So that's dope. We're just trying to figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, if we were doing that type of podcast, then we would be heavy in the editing.
For sure, for sure.
So yeah,
But yeah,
man, are you ready? Are you ready for this? For this Four Roses? I mean, I'm hitting it heavy here with the dessert wine with this Portuguese port
you can't say hitting it heavy when and then the
in
next
a
phrase
tumbler.
is dessert wine in a tumbler. Yeah, I'm gonna bust up. So this is what the little pamphlet, as you can see on the video, where is it? Little pamphlet that
There
comes
you
with
go.
it. This is what it says. I hate reading live on air because it makes me feel like that kid in class was like, what now? The story behind the bottle you're holding is entirely unique to Four Roses. Only Four Roses uses 5 yeast strains with 2 mash bills to create 10 completely different bourbon recipes. Oh, that's crazy. For this
Mhm.
single barrel product, I always hand select each barrel from the same recipe. At the peak of its maturity, for its robust, that's a good word, robust. Definitely not how you would describe dessert wine. Robust and distinctive
Actually, full
character.
body.
You'll notice rich aromas. Okay, don't say that. I hate when you say that. Aromas of fruit and delicate flavors of apricot and pear balanced perfectly with notes of oak, light spice, and caramel. Each barrel yields about 180 bottles, which are marked with the exact warehouse and aging location on the handwritten label. While enjoying the uniqueness of this award winning single barrel bourbon, we hope you'll take the time to notice how smooth and mellow it begins and then rewards you with a finish that's long, soft, and delicate.
Yeah, that describes
We just, yeah,
your
okay.
personality, I guess.
That's, yeah, long, soft, and delicate. All right. Long and soft is not a way I would want to be described. I'll get long to be all right. I'll be cool with it. But yeah, man. So as I'm cracking open this Four Roses, I had a fun little experience this morning.
Hmm.
Ooh, you get hold on. You got to do the nose test. Ooh, that's this is gonna be something. All right.
Yeah. Are you
You
greeted
definitely
with
smell the
the
caramel.
are you greeted with an incredibly delicate and light nose?
I am agreed with that. Absolutely. You could definitely smell the caramel like right off top.
Yeah. Do you get a bouquet
I'm
of
not a,
soft
I'm
scents consisting of cork, dried raisins, vanilla, and fresh picked flowers?
yes to all of that,
Yeah.
dude. I'm totally becoming a bourbon snob. Shout out to my barber that I got him a bottle of Elijah Craig, and he said that shit was smooth. I was like, yo, wait till you have Eagle Rare. Ooh, this one, I'm gonna say it like this. This one feels fuller or more full. I don't know if fuller is the word, but there is that like distinctive ability to understand that you can't drink too much of this, which
Mhm.
is probably why it comes in a 750 milliliter bottle
There's 100
because
proof.
this shit is yeah, yeah, it's not a game.
And this is one
All
of the
right, first
go-tos.
sip.
I mean, this is a really good. It's not one of the pricier bottles, but it's still a very good bourbon. I've had it before.
Whoo! Whoo! Yeah, that 100 proof is real, son. That 100 proof is real. Oh yeah, you can feel the cat. This is the part that gets weird, right? Or like where you describe it this way, like you can really feel the caramel, like uh, as you're tasting the bourbon. I'll say it like that.
Just
Because I
say
was
it. I
gonna
know
say
you're
like,
gonna
oh, in the
say it.
back of my
Just say
throat.
it. We know what you're about to say.
It feels the caramel feels it. I feel it filling up the back of my throat. See, it sounds
Yep,
weird
there you
when I
go.
say it like that. There it is. It just can't. There's no other way to say it. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh, that shit is serious. All right, so this morning, before we break down this bourbon a little bit more, this morning I had to unclog my sink.
Hmm.
Something that I've done before, and I hated doing every minute of it. That shit is gross, son. Is
Yeah,
not a fun experience. Have you ever had to do
I've
it?
had to unclog. Yeah, I mean, I've had to replace. What are they called? Fucking food. Wow, I
Uh,
can't think of the word.
uh, yeah. Well, welcome to my life. Well, welcome
Jesus,
to what it's like to be me.
Jesus. I think I might
Garbage
have drank too
disposal.
much of this dessert wine. No, the food
Fucking
disposals.
garbage
I've had
disposal. Garbage
garbage
disposal.
disposal.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've had to
food
replace
disposal.
those
Yeah.
and replace like plumbing, under the sink before, and obviously bathrooms and toilets. So that shit is, it is what it is. Shit.
Yeah, it's literally shit. Yeah, man. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna give you my Ben feedback on this Four Roses. Right.
Yep.
It is. It's not a game. Um, I ate before this because I knew I
Wait,
was gonna drink.
you gotta do it in your
Uh,
DMX voice. What is it? It is not.
it's a fucking game.
Huh?
It's not. Yo, RIP to RIP to DMX, man. But
Hmm.
yeah, it's not a fucking game, bro. What's my name? Four Roses. All right, this one definitely hits harder, man.
Yeah.
This one hits harder. This one has, dude, like in a very good way because it could have a bad connotation. Like in a very good way, it feels like you're drinking paint. Like it has the sniff and like the hard hit of like paint thinner.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like how like the mineral spirits. Like that's kind of what that's like. It has that like that
It's yes,
it
that's a
let it
spiciness you're
lets you
getting.
yeah it lets you know that you're about to get like don't get crazy with this. Like this is not a shot oriented bourbon. This is very much so a sit and chill because three of these like I say three of these shots unless you're like a world champion alcoholic you'll be fucking gone son.
Yeah.
Gone.
So
Like
I will
when
tell
it
you.
first hit like
Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah
Sorry.
no go ahead you got it.
So these hit. The reason why it hits harder, I mean, on top of the 100 proof, is that this is a rye bourbon, right? It's got a 35%
Yes.
rye. So it's higher in the rye content, whereas like the Makers is a wheated bourbon, and it's high in the wheat content too.
Mhm.
So they're gonna hit different. My 100 proof, that signature bottle, signature blend, Old Forester is 100 proof, but it's not a rye. It's not high in rye, and so that's
Right.
like the finish. It's a lot smoother compared to, I'm sure, that finish of that
Mhm.
Four Roses. Like I said, I've had it before, and
Heavy.
it's
Heavy.
spicy. It's heavy. Yeah, it's got a bite
Yes.
to it.
Yeah. Yes. Well, it lets you know, right? Which I don't. I'm
Yeah.
still trying to. That last line. I'm trying to figure out where it says single barrel bourbon. We hope you'll take the time to notice how smooth and mellow it begins, and then rewards you with that long, soft, and delicate taste. There's nothing. I'm gonna be honest with you. Unless
Nothing
I
delicate.
need to get. I'm like a white belt. I'm not. I'm a white belt in this bourbon shit, right? Like very, very small amounts of bourbon in my house. Like
Hmm.
in the grand scheme of things, there's nothing. Yet long, yes, because it motherfucking lingers. But soft and delicate, I would not say it that way. But that's. But I'll tell you this: like it's always been my experience when I drink a new bourbon. Like because my palate isn't used to it. Like the first time I
Right.
have it is a little bit hits a little bit harder than it does like after that second or third or fourth sip because my palate has gotten close. You know what I mean? It's gotten accustomed to it and it's coated well, so it handles it a lot better.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. You could probably apply that logic to just about any drink. After a glass or two, it doesn't really matter
Yeah,
what notes, what finish, what the palate is like. You just give me another one.
yes,
Oh, that was some
yeah. It doesn't matter
$4
if it's
bourbon
long.
made by the Dollar Tree. Psst, that shit tastes like Pappy Van Winkle to me. I couldn't tell.
Could you imagine if Dollar Tree made a bourbon?
I'd
There was
rather
a
not.
funny one. I'd rather not. We for sure die, but I'd 100% review it. So when I was buying this because I bought it yesterday after we got done buying groceries, right? Went to the
Hmm.
Walmart liquor store, bought it. I was like, oh, I haven't had a single barrel. It was between this and a small batch. I hit up my boy uh, Matt Whiskey, aka Yoda Bourbon, and he was like, no, I'm gonna get a single barrel. It's like $39 retail,
Yeah, it's a better
and
one.
it was yeah, it's the better one. I was like, all right, I'll try that one. I haven't had either one. And then there was like other people buying bourbons, and then like one guy was buying Evan Williams. Have you ever had that one?
I think I have. Yeah. Have you had
No, is
Evan?
it
I
good?
mean,
Because that guy goes, "This is all I haven't had it now." Like that guy was like so stern about his shit. He's like, "This is all I drink." Hey man, calm down. I was just wondering if you'd had Four Roses. But like, is it wrong to think that like the shit on the bottom shelf isn't that good? That's where it was located in this specific Walmart. Is that like dumb or arrogant to think that way?
I don't know. I mean, Evan Williams is another one of those that's been around for a while. So, that's everyone has to have a go-to, I guess, and that was that guy's go-to. How much was it? Was it like a $25
Yeah, he was
bottle, or
so
was I can't remember how much
20,
a bottle.
it was yeah, it was like 27.99 or something.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't very expensive, and it was like the big bottle. It was like when we were first
Damn.
drinking Tennessee Honey, it was like that bottle size. I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I could equate like obviously you don't always have to equate price to
To
taste, right?
quality. Yeah.
Because sometimes you can be to quality. You can be surprised. But I was just like, if I have to bend over to get it, I feel like I'm reaching into a trash can. That might be totally wrong. I might be, you know what I'm saying? Like I might be very dismissive, and I'll ask my boy Matt after the pod. But I was just like, if it's at the bottom, like, and I asked my wife, I was like, is that wrong to think that way? She's like, nah, I could see why you would think that. Because to me, like the best selling stuff is going to be at eye level and above, right?
Yeah.
If I
It's
have to
all about
like search,
marketing.
like
Yep.
obviously this, yeah. So it's maybe the way that they place it there because the the distillers from these brands pay them more. Whatever the fuck, I don't know.
Mhm.
I have no idea. But I thought it was weird how like passionate he was. Then like I saw some guy buying like an Old Forester, and I almost became that guy that like has to talk to somebody about bourbon. I was like, hey
Uh-huh.
man, have you tried Old Forester 1920? Because it's a totally different taste. And like I was gonna have this whole full on conversation while my fucking vegetables were thawing out in my cart. A thing that actually almost happened. But yeah, this is good, bro. This is this feels like a manlier bourbon. But like it's definitely like Eagle Rare is smooth. I'm trying to go off memory here, right? Eagle Rare is smooth.
Mhm.
Buffalo Trace is solid, solid, solid. Maker's Mark, I mean, can't it's a proven brand, right? But this Four Roses, really good, but definitely can't have like two or more glasses on a pod because then I don't know what the fuck I'll say. Because anything's possible. And mind you, I
Yeah,
ate
no.
before I did this.
Yeah, that's not a I told our friend that we have a friend in common down in Melbourne. I said, hey, look, man,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you. You're not American until you start drinking bourbon. I mean, if you're a woman, that's fine,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
if you're a man, you can't consider yourself American. No one's going to consider you American until you start drinking bourbon. And I said, also,
Yeah.
you drink bourbon neat, and you don't fucking drink it with food. Like, don't think about having food. And so, what does he do? He puts a big old block of ice in that motherfucker, and then he eats it with like rice and chicken or steak. I couldn't tell what the hell the picture was. And then he's like, "No, it's not. It's not my. It's not for me." And I was like, "Well, then get your fucking papers. I mean, get your shit ready. Pack your bags, because fucking ICE is coming to your door. I don't give a fuck if
Yeah,
you've been
that's
a
the
citizen for
immigrant.
25 years."
I will send him the immigrant mentality T-shirt if he could wear it in his home country. How dare? Yeah, dude. Like we've never in the times we drink. Like I think Tennessee honey, you drink that with ice because it's like a sweeter. But like this real
Yeah,
shit, you can't have ice with this. It's only neat. You get like you pour yourself, I guess, 2 to 3 fingers, and you let it sit and marinate. Like
yeah. You enjoy
one
it.
of
You
these days,
sip
I
it.
hope to go to my boy Matt's house. Yeah, you sip it. You slow it down. You don't take shots. You don't have
You,
that
you
with food.
it's an experience, right? Like, just like if you go to a certain restaurant to have some kind of food, like, you don't fucking rush through it like you were in basic training where you're standing and eating and moving down the line at the same time. You go to that restaurant to experience the food and whatever atmosphere, if it's like a world-class restaurant, whatever they put on. Same thing with whiskey or any
Right.
particular wine or whatever. Like, you're there to savor. Like we're bullshitting, and it sounds like we're bourbon snobs or whatever, but like it's one of those things, right? You don't want to rush it. You really want to like savor it and enjoy it, not just like, I'm just gonna throw this back, take a shot, or wash down whatever I just state with this bourbon. Like,
That's not what you
that's
do.
just how I feel
One thing
about
you
it.
do. One thing you can't. No, I 100% agree with you, which is not a often occurrence. One of the things that I realized because my wife likes to watch Spring Baking Championship, and they cook a
Hmm.
lot with bourbon. That's one thing you can cook with bourbon,
Yep.
100%, but you shouldn't eat with bourbon, if that makes sense. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it should never be like you should never wash down your meals with bourbon. First of all, it'd be very difficult because bourbon is a very heavy liquor, a very heavy spirit. Like to
Yeah.
wash down anything you're eating doesn't seem like the like imagine trying to wash down a steak. You know what I mean? Like when you're like
Yeah.
you can fuck around and choke yourself. Like if you're not ready for that bourbon, if you haven't had that bourbon before, that bourbon might fuck around and make you choke and then you die because that steak gets
Yeah.
lodged in
No.
your throat and it's over.
it was his wife who sent me the picture. She's like, "Hey, I told him what you said, but he didn't listen." I'm like, "Yeah, that's all right. I mean, I've known him." I said, "He never
Wow.
listens. I'm not surprised." I said, "Look,
Never.
I give these. I'm trying to help you out as a fellow human being. If you're gonna drink alcohol,
As
very
a fellow
easy.
American.
Yeah, not even as a
Yeah.
fellow American, just a fellow human being. Chicken and fish, have a white wine. Steak, have a red wine
Yes.
or fucking water, whatever.
Yes.
Just enjoy that steak, because now it's about that steak, but the wine will help with the flavors. If you're gonna drink liquor. Put the food to the
Yeah.
side. Eat 2 hours, hour and a half before whatever you're gonna drink. Don't drink and don't drink, bourbon or whiskey or whatever your choice is while you're eating.
Yeah,
It's like,
you're doing it a disservice, right? Because
yeah,
you're not enjoying the palate and the taste of it. Like again, like you don't. We're not talking. If you're listening to the word, like, we're not trying to sell you on drinking, right? Like it's not the best way to go about it. But can you hear the music?
I hear something faint. I can't tell. I can't make out what's going on though, or any lyrics
Yeah.
or anything.
Yeah, that was fun. But yeah, not trying to be like a snob about it, but it's just be bet like yeah, when you're drinking bourbon, just drink the bourbon. Don't try to wash it down with food because I can't imagine trying to eat and drink have a sip of bourbon. That just wouldn't be my thing.
That's how it is. But hey, like I told her, I said, "Hey, you never listen." So I'm not surprised. I was doing my duties as a fellow human being, giving him some advice. Um,
Mhm.
I think if he would have taken my advice and not eaten and just taken his time and enjoyed it, he may have been a convert. But because he decided that he was going to eat and not and drink at the same time and put a big fucking piece of ice in there, fucking ice is going to come knocking down his door now. We might not see him
Let me
again
ask
unless I travel overseas.
you've known our mutual friend for we've known him about the same time, but you were like closer with him, right? Has he ever changed his opinion after giving information from somebody else? I feel like he's very much so the one that likes to convince people. You know what I mean? Like when he's giving you, like if you're literally telling him, look, man, this is how you should eat this, or this is how you should drink this. That's not. He wouldn't be the person that like understands and listens to that, right? He'd be like, no, I'm gonna figure it out. I got this.
No, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised for
Okay,
some
all right,
like.
okay,
I mean, he has that right. Like you look at him and he comes off as like,
yeah.
I'm gonna do shit my way. It's my way or the highway, and that's it. Like you could keep talking, and it's just like going over my head or in one ear out the
Yeah.
other.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think we're like that for most things. Where like you have, I'm sure you
Yeah.
have that. You think about that, or you're that way about certain things. I know I'm that way about certain things. Or like, okay, dude, yeah, like I'll listen and I'll nod my head, but like I know more about this than you do. So just like keep talking, and I'll do the polite
Right.
thing. Be like, really? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I'm like, shut the fuck up, dude. You don't know what you're talking about.
I guess
So,
it's a very specific conversation, man.
but for yeah, no, I mean he's like that for some things, just like we all are. But I know what you mean. Like he does have that like look when he comes off as like, I'm not gonna listen to you about any damn thing.
It goes back to that conversation from last year where I was like, "Hey man, you got any tips on bikes? Yeah, buy this $18,000 bike." Like, wait, hey man, like, wait a second, we're not talking about the same thing.
You gotta. Is there a different budget? But we talked about that. Like the whole thing with bikes, people get priced out of mountain biking because of like how expensive they are, or how they feel that they have to go buy a $5,000 bike, where where you don't, just to get introduced into the sport. No, he's not like that about everything. I think we all have that side.
It just makes me mad that he because if you have bourbon the wrong way, you'll never drink bourbon again. Because it could fuck you up. Like, no, I'm definitely not gonna like this. Especially the bourbon you have and how you eat it and how you go about it.
Yeah, like I don't like rye. Like I don't drink whiskey. I mean, whiskey is high rye content, and I don't like it because of the rye, because it gives it that spiciness and it's not really smooth. But I've had Knob Creek rye. I've had other ones. I've had Four Roses, and it's a bourbon, and it's a high rye content bourbon.
Right.
But I enjoy it. I mean, but I've gone to the bar and I sit there, and it's just I'm having it neat, and I'm sipping on it and just enjoying the flavor. Now, had I had it with something else, had I ordered a burger or some bullshit at the bar, I probably would have been like, I would have been in the bathroom throwing up, because you don't eat and drink bourbon at the same time. It'll fuck you up. It's not the way to enjoy it.
Yeah, 100%. No, definitely not. Man, we went long on bourbon. What was I gonna? Yeah, this one's solid, bro. Yeah, this one's definitely a different taste though. Yeah, it must be the high rye content for sure.
Yeah,
that makes it so different. I definitely. Yeah, this one's serious. This one's a little heavier for sure. Well, yeah, man. Let's get into this main event of the pod, man. UFC 261.
woo,
My brother. Come on, man. You go first.
Jesus Christ.
Talk
Before we even talk about the actual event, I'm going to talk to you about my trip to Peru. I told
That's not gonna happen.
my beautiful wife, my beautiful, caring, understanding, intelligent, she's all these great things that she is. I can't even, words don't even do her justice.
Real quick, I want to add something in. You know, she's not gonna get this part of the pod because she's gonna stop. But when you like, oh shit, I fucked up at the beginning of this, like she's 7 minutes in, she's out and she's whooping your ass. And she's got reach on you, John. It's over for you.
Yeah, she's got height. She's got reach for sure. No, so before this all started, I was telling her about like, oh, I'm looking forward to this fight. It's 3 title fights. Then I told her about Valentina Shevchenko. I was like, yeah, she's from Kyrgyzstan, I think. I said she's from one of the stands. I think Kyrgyzstan.
Yeah.
But she fights. She represents Peru as well, or she's out of Kyrgyzstan via Peru. And I said it's like that's why I want to go to Peru. Maybe we'll run into her. And she said, "What?" And so she said, and so then the fight starts. I told her this like a couple days ago, or maybe the day before, the morning of. So then the fight starts yesterday, and she still didn't know who Shevchenko was. Like she didn't know who she was, what she looks like, or whatever. And so her fight comes up, and she's fighting. I'm like, "Hey, this is the girl I told you. This is the woman I told you about." And she looks at me. She's like, "Oh, okay." And so she reaches over. She's like, "Oh, are you getting a hard on yet? Are you getting a hard on?" I'm like, what? "Baby, they're beating the shit out of each other. What?"
Yeah, that's
No,
not my kind of party.
I know. I was like, "Hey, wait, what?" I said, I admire her as a fighter, and even more so yesterday after she did what no one thought she would do, which is like she out grappled and the one weakness of her game, which is her ground game, and she had a point to prove. Yeah. Okay. But yeah. So, but before we get to that, that was the story about Shevchenko and my possibly canceled trip to Peru, which actually it might get canceled just because Peru's a level 4 country right now. The Department of State says they don't recommend that U.S. Citizens travel. We can still travel, but because of, I think they say crime and terrorism and the pandemic, I think they have higher than normal COVID-19 stuff cases. So we'll see. But did you watch any of the fight?
No, I'm not. I watch all of them. Did you real quick? Ain't no we'll see. Let's rewind real quick. Ain't no we'll see. You're not going to Peru anymore, John. The fuck are you talking about?
No,
You're not going
I haven't.
to Peru.
No, we have a deadline of like July because the trip is in September.
No, your wife canceled the deadline yesterday when she saw Valentina Shevchenko. I was like, no, bitch, you ain't going nowhere.
When she saw her fighting, she also said, "Oh shit, she'll beat the shit out of you." I was like, "Oh yeah, 100%."
Yeah, 100%. Easily. What? I mean, Rose would whoop your ass. No, I bought the fight. We watched every single fight. My wife got hyped for Rose 100%, dude. Like she was clapping. She was like, "Look, we'll get into the co-main in a second.
Let's talk
Do you
about
want
that.
to talk about?
Go ahead. I think I know.
You want to talk about Weidman?
Yeah.
You want to talk about Weidman? Yeah. You want to talk about this?
Look, man, I missed it.
I only watched it once. I couldn't.
It was 17 seconds in, and my VPN, not my VPN. It's actually the servers of the people that are putting up the fight. Their shit froze.
Right.
And I was like refreshing, and I had like 3 tabs open because I had other like backups in case that one, my main failed. And by the time I got back up and running, it happened. But they were showing the replay, and they were to the point where like, hey, we're about to show this replay, but it's graphic, so if you don't want to see this, look away now.
Yes.
And I was like, when they said that, I got even closer to the TV. I'm like, no, I'm not missing this shit. Boy, oh shit! I mean, I've seen that before.
You wish you would have missed it before. You would. Anderson Silva.
It's crazy because those are the 2 guys that fought Silva, right? Like he was the first one. Weidman was he the first one to beat him, and then
yes, knocked him out. And then in the rematch, knocked him out in the rematch. Oh, knocked him out in the first fight. Then in the rematch, he shattered his leg that same way.
Yeah,
it was. I saw it once. I didn't need to see it again. The 3rd time in my life I've seen it live. So back when I used to watch wrestling, WCW, this guy named Sid Vicious, right? Mullet hair. He tried to jump off the top rope, and he landed on his leg, and his leg did the same thing. Like it just went completely the opposite way.
Yeah, that reminds me of the.
His leg just went like this. Like here's the femur, and then like down his tibia and fibia just went the complete opposite way. And that's what happened last night. And I saw the Anderson Silva fight when he fought Chris Weidman for the rematch. And Melanie, we had just started dating at the time. She watched it with me. So she's like, "Oh my God, his leg's broken." I was like, "What?" And then you just see him, they're like, "Ah!" Dude, it was so hard to watch. Oh my God. I only watched it once. I refused to watch I refused to watch the replay. I saw it once. It was enough for me. I've seen it 3 times in my life. I'm good.
I
It
saw
was
I saw the replay and
fucking.
they had like 4 or 5 different angles and I couldn't stop watching that shit. I was like, oh, but as I was watching, I was like, oh, fuck, no, ah,
Yeah,
but keep showing me
yeah,
that shit.
yeah,
Keep showing me that shit. Oh,
yeah.
fuck, no.
You, you definitely,
I can't stop watching.
you definitely, you definitely faces of death. Like I could, like his career is over, right? Like if like I don't know, allegedly he's supposed to have surgery today.
Yeah.
Hopefully the swelling's gone down and his leg is good. But there's a chance that listen, I don't know much. I don't know much about this stuff, but like the way it looked when they were wheeling him out of the arena,
Mhm.
it looked like he had no bones in like beneath his leg.
Yeah.
Like it just looked complete. Like he broke every part. It broke. It looked like every bone and ligament that he had beneath his knee was gone. Like there was just it was just floating skin. It
Yeah, it didn't
was.
look good, man. It didn't look good.
It
I saw
looked.
something similar live, NCAA tournament a few years back now. I think it was Louisville Cardinals, and I can't remember who the player
Oh
was.
yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes. I remember that.
I saw that one
Yeah,
live, and I don't know, I don't know where it could have been, like Elite Eight or Final Four. It was like farther along in the tournament, I think.
yeah.
And I was watching that, and I was like, oh my god, same reaction. I was like, faces of death making crazy sounds, but I'm like,
Yeah.
give me the fucking replay. Let me rewind and see that shit again. I kept watching it. I couldn't get enough. How horrifying it was. It was
Oh my
crazy.
God, it was so bad.
Yeah.
The thing, I don't know how old is Weidman now, like 36, 37,
36
maybe a little
around
bit
there.
older.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. But like his, if he look with an injury like that, right? Like you hope everything he's healthy and his leg is good and there's no like complications where there's an
Hmm.
infection. This is like worst case scenario shit, right? You just
Yeah.
hope he gets to keep the leg and
Yeah.
have a
A normal life.
sound, solid rest of it, a normal life because he should never fight again. Like I get it, that's how you make money. Like become a wrestling coach. You were a middleweight champion. You were one of the best ever. You know what I'm saying? Like you fell on hard times after the Luke Rockhold fight, all that stuff. Still a
Yeah.
great person. I don't want to see you come back in there, bro. Like
Yeah.
as a Chris Weidman fan, I'm all set, bro. I don't. That was horrible to see. Horrible,
It was, man. And look,
horrible, horrible.
he's it's not just the skill set, like that skill set, like you said, become a coach, start an academy. Maybe
Yeah,
that leads to multiple gyms. Maybe you start doing that at a high school, at a whatever high school level, and then you go
as
off
he
and branch
does.
off and start your own business. Um, he's
Yeah,
yeah, I mean the fighting game did him good. He showcased his skills. He was a college level, like he was a great wrestler. Go on and move
yep.
on to the next step of like the next phase of your life. Like that was nasty. I'm a fan of fighting. I'm a fan of people getting their face punched in, but I'm not a fan of seeing that. And it's unfortunate that
Like,
that's if that's the end of his career. It's unfortunate that that's how it ends. But hopefully he recovers and he can go on and, like you said, do some other things. Go coach. Not that he can't fight, but after you see something like that, it's like Jesus. Like what more punishment? You're 36. Here soon to be
mhm.
37. What more do you want to put your body through? Like you've done it all. You've accomplished everything you
it,
needed to accomplish.
and it's easy. Like, look, we're well aware. Neither of us have ever been an athlete at any high level. You ran track in high school. I quit my fucking high school wrestling team after
Mhm.
2 practices. This isn't even like attacking, like in that sense. This is purely like, hey man, we just hope you set yourself up financially the right and smart way, right?
Right.
And you have the next 60 years to live with your wife and kids and grandkids and great grand. Like, I need you to focus on the next 60 years, not the next 60 months, because I don't know how you come back from an injury like that. Because look, let's physiologically, given he's top of his class, right, of being an athlete,
Hmm.
but at that age, you're still that age, right? Like you're still 36. You still put in all those gym and you know what I'm saying, all that gym time, all those fights, getting knocked out, all that stuff is still embedded in your brain DNA. So you
Yep.
need to just, and I'm not saying it in a rude way or disrespectful, Chris Weidman. If you ever happen to watch this or any fan or whatever, like just for your overall well-being, because you're a class act of a human being. I want you to walk away. I want literally like that's literally what I want you to do. Have a press conference, get up, and literally walk away. Not with a cane, not with a prosthetic, not with trying to make it back, and then the other half of your body is compromised, like we've seen so many times with so many other fighters or athletes.
Yeah.
Like it took Alex, the same injury happened to Alex Smith, the quarterback, and it took him 3 years to get back. Like,
Yeah.
3 years, you're 40, Chris Weidman. You're 40. Like, that's it, man. Like, and I don't mean it. Just please enjoy the rest of your life, man. That's all I'm saying. Whew.
That was a lot. That was a lot on that one. It wasn't even a main event,
Yeah.
but that was such a like just terrific injury.
It's a moment. Yeah, it was a moment.
I mean, and I guess it has more weight. It's horrific regardless, but obviously he's a former champion. He's been in the sport for a long time. I'm a fan of his. Like I'm a fan of all these fighters. You put yourself in that cage, and you know that the object of the game is to, beat each other's face in until someone can't go anymore. I got respect for all of them.
Basically.
But
100%.
it's tough to watch that, man. And like you said, he's not like Ngannou, who's 35 already, but Ngannou just got into fighting 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Weidman has been in the fight game, wrestling and fighting for probably 2 decades now. Like it's not easy to recover from that. It's the hits to the head, the nagging injuries, all that stuff. Body doesn't recover any faster.
No, it doesn't. It only gets worse. It only gets harder. It only gets slower.
Mm-hmm.
All right, man. Valentina Shevchenko. Let's talk about that dominance.
Man, look, it was the least exciting fight of the night, to tell you the truth.
Yes.
She had a point to prove. It's crazy because the lead up to the fight was, hey, Jessica Andrade is a tank, and she is. I've seen her fight. I mean, she's so damn strong. You saw what she did to Rose, where she picked her up and fucking body slammed her on her neck, and she was out. That's how she won the title a couple years ago. But let's not forget that Valentina went toe to toe with her and the other greatest, the other greatest female combat sports fighter out there, Amanda Nunes, right? And they were, and I mean, she's a heavy punch. She is the heaviest puncher. It's as good as Andrade is. Like she doesn't compare to Amanda Nunes toe to toe. And so I didn't understand that part about like her not being able to withstand something from Jessica Andrade. She didn't even try to. I mean, I thought she was better on her feet, but the entire fight she was trying to take it to the ground to prove a point that, okay, I have a weakness. Let's see how weak I am. And at will, she took her down whenever she wanted.
Five takedowns?
5 or 6 in the first round. Yeah. Like she was 5 for 5 or 6 for 6. She was successful in all of them. And I remember at one or a couple of times, Jessica Andrade tried that bullshit. She tried to pick her up and try to slam her. Wasn't happening. It's Andrade is good. She's a former champion. Like that. Remember that those 3 title fights, you had 5 out of the 6 fighters were champions or former champions. The only one that wasn't a champion already was Masvidal. And so, I mean, there's no disrespect to Andrade, but like Shevchenko, maybe she didn't get top billing because of that. She was dominant, but like Anderson Silva at some point, like she was dominant but not exciting. Later on in his career when he was still dominant, he was just technically better, and she is technically better in the stand-up game than just about anyone. But yeah, man, it was great. I was excited for it. I was hoping it'd go 5 rounds. I was hoping all these fights would go 5 rounds because knockouts are exciting, but I'd like to see a knockout in the 4th or 5th round as opposed to seeing a knockout in the first round. I want to see a war. I want to see these guys.
You want to see a Kamaru Usman, Kobe Covington.
That was beautiful. I want to see that dude get his jaw broken and still coming forward.
Yeah, like that's a fucking monster.
Yeah.
I knew when she couldn't get that takedown on Andrade against the fence that she had done to like literally everybody else.
Yeah.
I looked over at my wife. I was like, "Well, this fight's over.
Yeah.
Like that's it. Like this, nothing else matters. Like nothing else matters. If you can't get her down in the second round when you're still at like peak energy, peak strength, and all that stuff, it's a wrap. And then maybe 60 seconds later, Valentina took her down, crucifix. I was like, "Oh, this fight is super over." And DC,
Yeah.
like I'm not taking credit. DC called it at the same time. Like DC was like, "This fight's over." Like against the rest was like, "Can't take her down." Like, "Oh, she's gonna try. She's gonna try again and again."
Yeah.
Oh, can't pick her up and slam
That's
on her neck.
demoralizing.
60 seconds. Yeah, 60 seconds later, like you can literally like. Obviously, you can't. Body language is bullshit, right? Body language, like being able to read that type of stuff, doesn't
Mhm.
make sense. Like, it's not a real science. But like you could almost see it where it's like, oh, she's deflated, like because she took her down with ease right after that. Well, mind you, she
Mhm.
had the position right, and then right after, like literally the 60 seconds later, the fight was over because she got her in the crucifix, elbowed her to death. The fight was over,
Yeah.
and you could see
What's
it. I
she,
was like, nah,
what's she gonna do?
but
She had no hands.
yeah,
She had no arms. She's
yeah,
just taking
and
elbows
it
to the
was
face.
over. It was utter and complete domination. Utter and complete domination by Valentina. She's supposed to fight the winner of Joanne Calderwood and somebody else that's fighting in May. We'll see about that. And then like I'm like the Bleacher Report reporting is that they'll probably target trilogy Nunez Valentina at the end of the year, which I'm cool with. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Like they both figured out the division. They're the best in the world. But you know what I mean? Like I also don't want to see it again because I want Valentina not have to. Because if Valentina goes up and loses, right? Because Amanda can't come down. Let's be real. Amanda, it's impossible for her to lose those 10 pounds.
She used to fight a
If
lot. She used
Valentina
to
goes
fight lighter.
up,
I mean, you've seen her. Like I've seen her
yeah,
cut and ripped.
but that's still 10 pounds, right? And then you have to remember she's older. I mean, all those things get more and more difficult.
Yeah.
So she's not gonna come down. And then to meet at 135, Valentina loses. It would always be that she has to. I think she has to distance herself from the Amanda Nunes argument. I think she just has to dominate her weight class. I don't want to see it again. Like, yeah, of course I'll watch. So I do want to see it again, but I don't want to see it again. Like if it gets made, I'm watching it. But if it
Yeah.
doesn't get made, I don't feel worse. I don't feel worse for having missed it. You know what I'm saying? Because I already saw it twice.
No, it makes
The two
sense.
best in the world. That's what I do here.
I
John.
mean,
It makes sense.
I'm
Make
trying.
dollars.
I'm trying. I'm trying to shut your mouth. I'm looking at these stats. I mean, this is ridiculous. Like from both total strikes, Shevchenko and Andrade. Shevchenko was 90 out of 97, 92.8% connection rate. Andrade connected highly too, but she threw half as many punches, 47 out of 55. That's 85%.
She's not a
Yeah.
She's not a volume fighter. She's not a volume puncher. She has too much muscle. She's very Tyron Woodley-esque.
Yeah. Yeah, Tyron Wood. Yeah, especially at the end of his career, where he was just like, "I'm going to throw 5 punches in 5 rounds, and I'm going to expect to beat you."
Exactly. I don't know how that works.
Significant strikes: 32 out of 39, 10 out of 15, and then takedowns. She was 7 for 7, and Jessica was 0 for 2. I mean, complete domination on the ground. It's not that Andrade was completely out of it, but just when they got to the ground, where they thought Valentina, you could see how much bigger she was. Just that's her natural weight. Yeah. At that weight class, there's no one that beats her. Like that's the only thing. She has to go up. That's she's not going to be beaten at that weight class.
No, nobody's in her class. Jessica Andrade was her biggest challenge.
Yeah.
There's nobody that Jessica. You know how bad? Like, look, this. It's almost like the John Jones argument in a way, right? But for women, it's a little bit different because they haven't been doing it as long. But Jessica Andrade moved up to 125 her last fight, right? When she fought Caitlin Chukagian, whatever it is.
Yeah, because she's a strawweight naturally.
Yeah, she's one. Well, no, Jessica Andrade is such a fucking monster. She's fought at all 3 weight classes. She fought at 135. She fought, and then she moved down to 115.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had a couple fights, and then when they opened the 115, she moved down to 115. So she's fought at all 3 weight classes. So no disrespect to her. Can also beat the fucking brakes off of both of us. Let's just be 100% real. And so you put she moves up to 125, fights the number one contender, beats the shit out of the number one contender, and then takes her spot. Right. That tells you that the competition level isn't very high at 125. It's Valentina and everybody else.
Yeah,
But it's very much, like I said, it was very much so the John Jones argument, right? Where there's nobody who else is there for him to fight after he beat all the legends from Shogun Hua, Lyoto Machida, Vitor Belfort. It was just kind of I guess he's next. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, the Gustafsson fight was cool, but it was cool because nobody expected it to be competitive.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because nobody had ever heard of Gustafsson, so it becomes that whole argument. But I mean, kudos to Valentina, man. Bullet, one of the GOATs. If it wasn't for Amanda Nunes, you'd be the GOAT for female fighters. But there's that lioness that's in the weeds that got your number, bro. And she's only gotten better from their last fight. She's become a better boxer from their last fight. So I don't know. I don't know how Valentina beats Amanda. That's just a different level, bro. But again, I don't want to see it. I'll watch it, but I don't want to see it.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, that's enough of that, I guess. I mean, it was we had this. I wanted to stay on there because it's Valentina. It wasn't the most exciting fight. It was just complete and utter dominance. And she didn't get the respect with that small thumbnail out of the 3 title fights. It was the main event, the co-main, and then a small picture of Shevchenko and Jessica Andrade. I mean, a champion and a former
very
champ.
Disrespectful.
Yeah,
very disrespectful. All right, Rose Weili Zhang.
Yo, I didn't expect that. I was just like,
Mel was up. I expected a war.
No, I expected Rose to fight, but I didn't expect her to last. I thought that if she went to fight with Weili, that she would knock her out. That Weili Zhang would knock her out. I mean, we saw that war that she went to with Joanna. And so I didn't think, even though Rose beat Joanna, I just the fighter that we saw, the type of fighter that Joanna was when she fought Weili was a beast, a different beast. And I didn't. There's no way that I thought Rose would beat Weili. And when they were in the ring, they were announcing the names and all that stuff. Mel looked at her and she goes, "Oh, she looks scared." And I was trying to look at her. I'm like, does she look focused? She looked scared. She looked like she was. I was talking about Rose. She looked like she was kind of scared. And very tentative. I had the stats up. Very tentative during the fight. She didn't throw that many. If you look at the replay, I saw it live, and then I saw the replay, and it was unlucky because when she threw, Weili Zhang thought she was looking for that low kick, and Rose went with the head kick, and she was backing out. She was sliding her front leg back as she threw that kick, and so she didn't have her feet under her. So as soon as that kick landed, that front leg was sliding back. She had nothing, and so when she landed, she wobbled. She was out. I thought that they stopped it too fast. Would it have been different? No, I think Rose would have still won. No. But I'm like, she landed 2 hammer fists. I'm like, they weigh about 45 pounds soaking wet, or maybe 115. But these are not Francis Ngannou. You saw the war that Weili Zhang went to with Joanna Jędrzejczyk. You gotta let her two fucking hammer fists. Let her have a couple more there, because when she got hit, her eyes did seem like she was not quite there, but she got hit. She fell. She tried to get up. She tried to get up. Rose jumped on her, and she was still trying to shift around. She was giving her back, trying to get up, but all it was 2 hammer fists, and she was out. And I was like, okay, they were like fucking rabbit punches. I mean, it's gonna hurt, but I just thought that as the champ, you got to give her a little bit more, just a little bit more, to try to get up. And if she didn't defend herself, that's fine. Not a bad stoppage, but just me personally, I thought they could have waited just a couple more seconds before giving her the fight. But hey, props to Rose. I mean, she caught her cold. I mean, that was a perfectly placed strike.
Yeah, because you can see her bouncing back, right? You see her literally going oh, she's trying to leg kick me, and she's trying to move back. She gets perfectly caught. She went low. She thought she was going low. Rose went high. And yeah, man, it was a beautiful head kick. It was was absolutely what it needed to be. I didn't see that happening. I saw. Hey, look, we predicted on the last podcast. Right? We thought we had all champions,
Yeah.
and it was crazy, bro. It was absolutely crazy. There's
Yeah.
really nothing else to recap from that, right? Like she was crying after the fight, which I gave it to her. She wasn't ready in 2019, 2017 when she first beat Joanna. She
Mhm.
wasn't ready for that kind of pressure. Where she said, like, there was some comments that she made that were a little bit uncomfortable, but I that Rose made about about China and communism, which we're not gonna, I'm saying, we're not gonna get into that and delve into that. It's a little bit weird
She
because I
said it
hadn't
like
discussed it
after
with
the
you
fight,
beforehand.
like in the post-fight interview
No,
in the
before,
cage.
like,
Oh,
no, leading up to the fight. Something, it was some weird. Like, we're not gonna get into it because I didn't research it enough to like understand where that came from.
yeah.
So it was just weird.
I didn't look at it. I mean, I didn't look
Um,
into it either. I just watched the fights. I'm not watching the
yeah, I
soap
just and
opera
also like
WWE story leading up to it.
yeah, exactly. There was some stuff with like her history and all this stuff, whatever. And yeah, I just it's the energy is just weird about that stuff. Like we could talk about what I'm saying, sports and politics to a whole different degree on a different podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, let's just get into this motherfucking main event, man. What you got, brother? I like your
Look,
take first because I always feel like I bulldoze you with
look,
my
man.
fucking with my
I
hot takes.
wanted Jorge. I wanted Jorge to pull it out. I wanted Jorge to pull it out because I mean Miami. That's why, right? and
100%.
no,
That's the
and
only
he's a
reason,
different.
right? Like the
Yeah,
whole
no, not. I'm not the only reason. Like I like she talks. He's a shit talker, but he showcased his
Miami.
skills. I mean, when like that last fight against Usman, he was not in shape, and he went in there, and I thought he was going to get knocked out cold, and Usman dominated for the most part. Jorge went in the first round to try to like knock him out because he had no cardio, he had nothing, so he was trying to let it, but he survived 5 rounds, and he went back and forth. And I mean, we've seen the street fights. We've seen that he is a pretty high level boxer out of all these MMA fighters,
Yeah,
and he's durable.
100%.
And he said something, or he didn't say something, but like how they play the clips of like the week leading up to the fight or 2 weeks leading up to the fight, they're following the fighters and recording all this bullshit. And one of the interviews, they asked him, "What did you learn about the first fight?" And he goes, "Oh, he doesn't hit as hard as I thought he would. He's one of the softest sitting." And I'm like, please tell me that that's just that's just shit talking, because that dude hits harder than a motherfucker. You broke Kobe coming to the jaw.
Yeah.
Come on. And
Yeah.
and I was like, man, I don't know if he didn't take him seriously for real. Like it's gonna be a bad night for Jorge. And
And it was.
the fight started, and I was like, oh shit, okay, he's doing his thing. He's got leg kicks. He's keeping his distance. Kamaru's loading up on that front leg. So take that jab away from him, because that jab was getting through. Keep kicking. And
Right.
Kamaru, I mean, like Usman got through. He connected a couple times where every time Jorge gets hit,
He hit him
you
with that
see this.
right. He hit him with that right a couple of times.
Yeah,
He hit him
you
with that
see,
right a couple of times in
and
the
he
first
has that
round.
same reaction that he does in all his fights when he gets hit. He throws his hands out like that's it, like he smiles and he whatever. And I was like, okay, but keep throwing that low leg kick, because like it's gonna pay dividends. But I don't know. He besides that, his hands were too low. It looked like he was kind of careless with his defense, and maybe he
He was
did.
disrespectful.
He was disrespectful. Maybe he didn't take him as seriously as he should have, especially with a full camp and not having to have a drastic weight cut. And fucking Usman is the monster that we know he is.
Yeah.
Put it on him. I mean, that
Yeah.
was an incredible fucking right hand. Like all the sweat, everything just you saw that as soon as he connected, he was out.
Explosion. Yeah.
Everything exploded. I was like,
It
holy
was
shit.
Usman threw his whole Nigerian nightmare body into that
He threw the
punch.
whole fucking
That opening,
country. He threw the whole
you know
fucking
how
country into that punch. Jesus.
the whole continent of Africa came through George Masvidal's face. Like what was crazy about that is like how big. Look, we don't know what that level of fighting is like, right? We talk about it, but he was able. That opening was so huge that Masvidal left for Usman.
Yeah.
That his body, Usman's body caught up to Masvidal, where
and threw
Masvidal
knocked him
bounced
down.
off Usman's back. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
that's how much of a gap in space there was for that punch to land. Like that's a huge hole in your fucking defense. If he literally hits you a split second later, you're landing on his back.
yeah,
You get what I'm saying?
and you're
Like
bouncing off his fucking
that's a
shoulders.
huge, and you're bouncing off his shoulder. That's like that means Masvidal, love you, bro. Nothing but respect. You're a warrior, but you can't be Kobe Covington with that shit. Kobe
Yeah,
Covington is the only person that can give Masvidal Usman a run for his money, and I don't expect the second one to be very competitive. I think Usman's going to destroy him because I think Usman's just getting better and better on his way to being the GOAT at the
yep.
170 division. So listen, man, bro, that punch was hellfire, bro. That
Yeah.
shit, that punch landed twice in the first round. He was just getting his timing into space, and then he came through with that right from Nigeria boy, and it was over. So over. Second
You know what?
knockout ever
Yeah,
of Masvidal's career. First
yeah,
one ever in the UFC.
yeah. It was beautiful. Like Masvidal had lost a lot in the UFC and in other like MMA leagues
Yeah,
because
like
he
Strike
would
Force. I
get
think it was called like Strike Force. Yeah,
he would get like submitted a lot. He that wasn't his thing, and he was a brawler, a street fighter.
decisions.
We would watch him in YouTube, Street Jesus.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
but when Usman took him down, and when he took him down, I was like, you saw Masvidal was actually able to weather the storm.
Prepared.
I thought he did more damage when he got taken down from the bottom than Usman did on the top. Like, just I that's how it looked to me. And I'm looking at the stats now, and Usman threw more strikes. He landed more accurately. He threw more significant strikes. He just didn't throw the one that mattered the
More,
most. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, when he got taken down, he was able to land some elbows, some punches. He was able to do some damage where he didn't really take that much damage, and then he was able to get up.
yeah.
And maybe that took energy,
Mhm.
obviously, trying to get Usman up off of you, but he was like the last fight when Usman took him down or put him up against the cage. Masvidal had no answer for him. He couldn't. He just
No,
stood there and took the foot stomps or just carried his weight until the round was over. And this time he was able to move, get out, uh, you know, hit Usman back. But Jesus Christ, like I don't know if you saw the replay of that right hand, Usman didn't just come. It wasn't just a big opening. Like Usman reached with his left, grabbed
yeah,
Jorge's right hand, moved it out of the way, and then came through with the like. How the fuck does it like? How does that happen? He just you have your hands up, and
no,
he just grabs your hand out of the way, and then there's a complete opening to your face, and that right comes through.
yeah.
Oh my god! Like, and then yeah, he went limp.
Jesus.
Usman just as that punch came through, he was still barreling forward, and Jorge just bounced off his fucking
Yeah.
shoulders, and it was over. It was lights out.
It was over. Shout out to Usman landing some more super necessary
Super
extra
necessary
punches.
for sure.
Super necessary. What, bro? It was to recap the whole event. It was the best UFC I've seen in a very long time. Where every fight, every fight was a finish, be it one way or another. You
Yeah.
had the Anthony Smith Jimmy Crute with the leg kick where his
Oof.
leg died.
Yeah. Forgot about that.
Yeah, yeah, his leg died. Then Weidman's leg actually hopefully comes back to life.
Yeah.
And then you had three straight finishes. You had no decisions in that. That's what you want from this type of shit. The first time being back with fans, which was amazing to see people in the crowd. Look,
Mhm.
let's
My cousin was there
put your political differences. Yeah, put your
from
political
Jacksonville.
differences and all that stuff. And all this stuff aside.
Mhm.
Seeing fans made everything better. Every single thing better. Like hopefully they were safe and people, yeah, so on and so forth, all that stuff. But my God, was it just so much better watching it with fans? It was so much better watching it with fans.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what sports are, right? Like it's competition, but it's entertainment. It's crazy
Yes.
to be performing these events, whether it's football games or MMA or any other sport, and there's no one in the crowd, or it's 1/5 or 1/8 the capacity. It
Yeah.
was awesome. 15,000 people strong. Hopefully, all those
Yeah.
15,000 people are still alive today. But no, it was awesome to see that. I mean, that's what these events are about. It's that electricity that they talked about during the broadcast. You can feel it. You can feel it. It was awesome to watch that. My only disappointment was that these finishes came so early into the fights. I like seeing wars. You know, if you're about boxing, you've watched Eric Morales. You've seen these, you know,
Arturo Gotti.
Morales and Gotti. Like, these are fucking wars, and maybe they don't even finish each other, but just to see that, that's what I wanted to see. But there's nothing wrong with it. That was a perfect event. The fans came back and they wanted violence, like Usman said. He gave them violence, and everyone else did too.
They just got they didn't get the violence. They didn't get the violence they specifically wanted. You wanted violence. You don't get to choose who gets violence. You have to pick and choose. Violence is violence, and that's just what it is. Yeah, man. That's all I got. You got anything else, my brother?
Oh man, we're good.
All right, man. Let's end the show. We'll be back on Wednesday, motherfuckers. See, I almost went through the whole podcast without saying motherfucker, but I couldn't help myself. I apologize, Mom. But again, man, end the show. Congratulations to my brother getting promoted. Love you, man. I'm proud of you. And I'll stand up parade rest for you, my brother. All right, man.
Yeah, man. We know you're better than we know you're better than Ben. It's all right. Congratulations. Right. Your mother loves you more. And you know, Ben knows it. Peace.
Yeah, a little bit. Peace. Crazy motherfucker.
That's right. That's how it works.